Here in the UK, it's like cold autumnal weather. So for me, that is absolutely the reason to get making and crocheting. And it's snood season. I absolutely love a snood nearly as much as I love an ear head warmer, but that's a different tutorial. So I thought I'd whip up a really quick video to show you how to make a super simple snood using the Wool and the Gang Heal the Wool. Look at these deets made in Peru, tick, recycled wool, tick. It comes in 3 colours. This is their timber wolf, this is their dusty blue, and it comes in a really nice ivory. So you know, it hasn't got the enormous colour palette that you normally get from Wool and the Gang, but it's just really earthy and really beautiful. And this twist gives the yarn some strength, so there's kind of, you know, even though it's quite fibrous, there's no pulling it apart. So you start off by doing a series of chains, leaving a relatively long tail on it, and your length of your chains, or the number of your chains, will determine the height of your snood. So I don't want this really tight because it's quite dense yarn anyway, so I'm just going to chain 13 and then work off of that. You want your chains to be an odd number. If you're using a really thin yarn, then go for a much higher number, and anything in between. So just gauge your length of your chain based on how high you want your snood to be. So I'm going to crack on, do a chain of 13, and see you back here in a bit. Okay, so here we go. Chain of 13. You do want to keep this quite loose. One of the other reasons is you'll see 10 hook, 12 instructions. I was never one to follow instructions very well at school. I couldn't find a 12 hook in my pile of crochet hooks, and actually all that will happen is I'll just make sure I'm quite loose when I'm making this up, but it will just make it more dense, so it's no real biggie actually. So just adjust your tension really, I guess, but depending on it. So now the pattern for this is really easy. You do, I'm using UK terms by the way, so double crochet into the second chain from the hook. So for sort of new people, you've got your first chain, let me just quickly reverse that so it makes it a bit more obvious if you're not. So that's kind of your first chain is here, this line here, and this is your second one. So let's just go back in there, so you can see that's the first one, this one here, and this is the second one. So you do a double crochet into the first, then you're doing a treble, so the treble, and again, like, keep it quite loose, pull a bit of that yarn through, especially if you're like me and not reading or listening to instructions. Now you want to skip a chain, which is going to be this one here, and then go into the next one. So you're going to go into this one here, with the same pattern, so double crochet and a treble, and that is your pattern for the main part of your make. Obviously not as you get towards the ends, but for this section it's your main part. So again, skip a chain, which is this one, and you're going to go into this one with a double crochet and then a treble. You're going to do that until you get to the last chain in your chain length. So I'll pause it here, because this is not easy actually, wrapping your arms around a camera, and I'll come back when I get to this point here to give you the next instruction. Okay, so you can see I've got my slip knot here, and then I've got one last chain, so I've done my double crochet here and my treble here. So when you get to the end here, you're just going to pop a double crochet in. Okay, so there you've completed your first row. Give it a bit of a stretch, let the yarn relax into the make. Now you're going to chain one and turn your work. So chain one and turn your work. You're going to skip your first double crochet stitch. So you see this stitch here is your chain, this is your double crochet. Okay, so you're not going to go into that double crochet. So that's your chain, that's your double crochet, this is your next stitch. So you're going to now use that pattern again, so chain, double crochet, sorry, and treble crochet, and then you're going to skip this stitch here and go into this one. Okay, does that make sense? So skip this one and go into this one, same pattern, double crochet and a treble, and guys, like, this is it, this is how complicated this this snood makes, which is awesome because it looks so brilliant. So people think you put loads of effort in if you're doing this as a gift. I'm not, I'm doing it for me. But yeah, so people think you've spent heaps of time, but really you haven't actually. So you're going to continue doing that. I'll keep on going until I get to the end of this one, and then I'll come back. Okie doke. So common error now is that kind of most people miss this last stitch here. So I've done my double, my treble, and I just need to finish this off with a double crochet into here. Can you see that you know, if you once this stretches out, you'd be leaving a little bit of gap. When I teach kids, actually, I call it the tricky stitch because it's the one that most people forget about, and you basically will slowly miss stitches and look with, you know, a funny looking snood, which is fine, just not today's aim. So you've got to make sure also that you're going into both of this V stitch, so the top of that last row. So your double crochet. So same thing again. Now you're going to chain, turn. That's your double crochet stitch. This is your first. So you miss your double crochet and you go into the next stitch with a double crochet and a treble. All of these individual stitches, so if you don't know what I'm talking about when I'm saying a treble, check out my other videos because they're all online, and that's the best place for you to learn. So that's your pattern now. So you're going to go double crochet, treble, skip, double crochet, treble, skip, double crochet, treble, skip, all the way to the end, double crochet, treble, and then into your very last stitch put a double. So yeah, I'm going to crack on, and then when I get a bit further I'll come back to you. Okay guys, how's it coming along? I'm getting there nicely. Look, oh, it's just simple stitches make up really nice. Couple of things, don't worry about this wonkiness. You could edge it if you want, because obviously this is going to be the top, but I think it's pretty, quite like it. That's totally normal. And like as I said, I'm using a really big yarn, so let it kind of pull it into the make so that it kind of relaxes out a bit. So yeah, look at it. It's looking good. I've probably got like, I don't know, maybe a third of the ball left. So I'm gonna just crack on and see where the make takes me. Not sure it's gonna get me all the way, but we will see. There's nothing wrong with experimenting. So each of these balls are £11.50. So kind of, you know, I suppose what, £23 for a beautiful snood is pretty good going. If you needed 2 balls, but hopefully we can squeeze it into the 1 ball, which just makes it an amazing gift or mini present. So yeah, I'm going to carry on, and then I'll come back to you when the yarn has all but gone. See you in a bit. Okay, I'm coming at you, barely able to contain my excitement. It is not only done, but there's like, it's nice, it's big, it's really long. Look, really long. Oops, knocking the camera. And there's still yarn left. I've still got a good amount of yarn left. So this is amazing. We have found out that 1 ball of Heal the Wool will make you an epic snood. So to finish off, again, you just pull all your yarn all the way through. But there's enough to make a pom-pom here, guys. Life doesn't get much better than this. Get yourself a big bad boy needle. So I obviously use Wool and the Gang ones. And it's gonna need it for this chunky monster. And then you are literally going to weave down the 2 sides together, and that's it. As simple as this make gets. So just pulling this here, putting 2 sides together. A tip I have as well, what I have done in the past, because you want to make sure here that this is really neatly aligned, to put like a big croc clip at one end, so that when you're weaving down the sides, you know that this end is not going to shift, because obviously it can have a tendency to do that, and you don't want it to. So just find your kind of end stitches there. So obviously this is your foundation chain here, and this is the your end row. So just find your kind of first foundation, and then just weave in. You can check out some really fancy stitches, or you can just weave it in and turn it inside out, and you're done. So you know, a whip stitch or something like that would work really well. But I generally just weave it in. So going through each of those stitches, and again, because it's quite fibrous, it's quite nice because it means it hides the stitches really well. So I'm going to do that, and then when I get to this end, we will have a chat about my big cheat. And do not tell my crochet mad mum that I'm doing this, because she won't let me eat her roast dinners anymore. And you want these to be quite tight, okay? Otherwise you're going to end up with a gaping hole. So yeah, do that and then we'll come back. Okay, so I'm at my end. As you can see, still a good amount of yarn left. Done it quite tight, and you want to give this an extra pull here. I am literally going to tie these ends together. You can obviously then weave them in. I am going to use a surgeon's knot in the attempt to feel like I'm doing something properly, which I'm not. This is not the way you should finish off a crochet project ever. So I'm probably going to be ousted from, I don't know if there's a crochet committee, but they wouldn't want to talk to me by showing you this. But you know, like, there are big things in the world, and weaving in ends on a very quick and simple snood is not high on my priority list. So there you have it. And now you can turn it inside out. I've got to cut all my ends off. I'm just going to give the camera a bit of a lift up, so I hope you don't get motion sickness, to show you the finished make. Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's so gorgeous. Oh, it's like a newborn baby's bottom or fat thighs. You just want to squish it. So yeah, it's lovely. And I hope that you feel confident and happy making this. It's really easy. It's really satisfying, and it gives you a little bit of creative pampering time, because quite frankly, in this world, that's what we need right now. So enjoy, check out my other videos, or head over to frecklesandfire.co.uk for more patterns. I'll write this one up actually and put this on as a free download pattern, so you can check that out as well. All right, take care, bye.